Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Deals podcast. I'm your host, Gabrielle Simmons. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Builders Outlet. Builders Outlet is your go-to here in Denver, Colorado for cabinets, windows, doors, and trim. You can check them out by going to buildersoutletco.com. And today we have a different kind of episode for you guys. Wanted to give a formal introduction to our new partner. Jordan Correy is here with me today, and he is joining myself and co-founder Sufyan. He's joining us as our COO and Innovations Director.
Jeez.
He is bringing a whole new element to Real Estate Dealmakers by helping us increase how we can bring value to all of our partners and members, and implementing lots of innovative ways to introduce systems and processes to everything that we're doing. So super excited to have you here with me today, Jordan.
Thank you. Appreciate that amazing introduction. Make me feel special.
You are special.
Okay.
I tell everyone who comes here they're special.
Oh, okay. So I'm not that special.
You're super special.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit more about like what you're doing here with Real Estate Dealmakers.
Yeah.
And like how you plan to really help the community thrive. I know you have lots of fun ideas.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great opportunity. I'm super excited to be a part of the Dealmakers. I think just being able to bring my knowledge just from the real estate wholesaling background, and then also being able to, I guess, host some events myself, it gives me the opportunity to get creative and think outside the box, but also be able to work alongside you and Sufyan to really do so. And so main plan is to be one of the biggest in Colorado. I mean,
Yeah.
that's our goal. So trying to just find new and creative ways in order to kind of think outside the box and find opportunities to help people that are trying to get into real estate, but also opportunities to help people that are already doing it.
Yeah.
People that are already killing the game, trying to give them more opportunities to really become a better version of themselves. So
Yeah. And you really like add a different element to the whole team, because you have the background, you have a degree in what is it?
computer science.
Computer science.
Yep.
So super nerd stuff.
Crazy thing is, yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of fell in love with it. It's
Really?
not even something I went to school originally for. I went for civil engineering, which is still kind of nerdy, I guess,
Super.
because I love math. So math is my favorite subject, and kind of just going down that journey, trying to get out of school as soon as possible, I came across computer science and started to really fall in love with it. And then starting to build out my own real estate team, started to learn a lot of the systems and processes that go into just making things easier.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that just sees something like, how can we make this easier?
Right.
I know I'm doing way too much, and sometimes I get too indulged into it to where
You're in the weeds of
Yeah.
like putting all the systems together.
maybe it might be a double-edged sword, but at the end of the day, I see it as a blessing because it's a good opportunity to know that, okay, I know how this can work and what it can do in order to help other people. So I need someone like yourself in order to be like, hey, let's run it, let's get it through, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill the holes that's in the boat. So
Yes. And that's why we make such a good team.
I agree.
We haven't been working together very long,
Yeah.
but already like I appreciate having you on board because we like you said, filled the holes where each other like is missing pieces.
Yeah.
I'm very much of a let's execute, let's do, and let's think about the organization of it later.
Yeah.
And that can get me into trouble, get me really disorganized, stressed,
Yeah.
and it's not very efficient usually, so having you come in and be like, all right, before we get to doing, let's put together some systems and understand like how to make it automated and how to just make it easier.
Yeah. I mean, beforehand, I was kind of the same way though. I was just like, let's just jump off the bridge and figure out how to build the plane as we go down. Until I started to realize, like you said, it gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I got a lot of stuff moving, but now things are so unorganized to where I don't know what the hell is going on. So you're missing things and things aren't getting done properly. So that's when I started to transition more to, okay, maybe if I build this out properly from the beginning, properly set the foundation and then be able to go from there, then it might be able to set me up for success. So that's mainly why I started to get more involved with just systems and processes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love how your idea to like bring at some point, right? Like not immediately, but at some point bring like a white label, like plug and play type of CRM on steroids, essentially, is kind of what I've gathered your ideas are. Bring this super innovative CRM type system
Yeah.
that all of our members can have access to.
Yep.
Either buying into like our processes that we're doing for like wholesale deals and buy and holds, or to purchase for their own operation.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a great idea. I look
Yeah.
forward to.
I mean, I definitely see there's a lot of opportunity within that space. Just a lot of people in general, like a lot of business owners, pen and paper, or it's just Excel sheets or just unorganized in general. So it's being able to identify, okay, what's your guys' issue? How can we help solve that? And by simply building out what we got going on here is going to be able to set that, I guess, that foundation in order to be like, okay, hey, other wholesalers, this is what we're doing in order to make our process easier.
Yeah.
How about we just plug and play this into what you got going on?
Yeah.
Or for our affiliates, I mean, maybe a CPA, maybe they just don't have these proper systems and processes in place. So being able to identify that, then be able to build something out specifically for them would be extremely helpful.
Yeah. No, yeah. I love that idea.
Yeah.
So tell us about, like, again, we haven't been working together very long. There's still so much that I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Tell us more about your journey through life. Like, let's go all the way back to childhood. Where'd you grow up, and what got you into real estate?
Yeah. So born and raised here in Denver, Colorado. Grew up kind of more Aurora, Centennial, Parker, a little bit all over. So yeah, I would say, I mean, grew up kind of like a knucklehead. I would say I was just running the streets, doing what I wanted to do, just hanging out with friends, not really focused on school.
What's your street name? You got a street name?
Just Jordan.
Just Jordan. Oh, you're not that cool.
I wasn't that cool. No, I wish I was. But yeah, I mean, just kind of just hanging out with friends, not really focused in school. I mean, I liked school, but it was more for the social aspect. I like to go hang out with friends and goof around. I was the class clown. Always getting kicked out of class, always going to detention, like nothing ever good.
Jeez, trouble.
Yeah, so I guess growing up through that whole process, I mean, it was kind of hard too, because I grew up with not necessarily, I never had like a dad figure in my life. I had like a stepdad. And when he left, it was kind of, I was that man of the house in a sense. So I was trying to step up a little bit, but I was still not going down the right path. And so in high school, I didn't get myself together until probably junior year. That's when I started to realize, okay, maybe I need to straighten up. Maybe I need to stop doing all this crap that I'm doing, getting in trouble. And even then, like when it was come time to like apply for colleges, like I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I was just like, okay, I guess college is the route. I mean, that's what I knew just growing up. Just, hey, get a job, go to college.
That's what we're told.
Yeah, that's all you're told. So it's like, okay, let me just follow that route and just going through life.
Right.
And so I ended up going to school up in Colorado Mesa and Grand Junction.
Okay.
Went to school out there for about 2 years, and great opportunity. I mean, freshman year, knucklehead again. I mean, just wanted to party, skipping class, like
Man,
no
failing
cares.
classes?
Failing classes. I felt like, honestly, don't tell nobody. Freshman year, I think at least 3 or 4 of my classes.
Wow.
Yep. And that's when I was like, okay, you need to get your stuff together. Ended up getting in a relationship, which actually really helped me, made me grow up, made me realize, okay, you're not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
So started doing a little bit better in school. Sophomore year, got my grades up. Still wasn't sure what I wanted to go to school for. I kind of let my grandmother choose my path, I would say. I mean, because my great-great-great-grandfather,
Wow.
he was an engineer.
Oh, wow.
And so I always loved math. So my grandma was like, why don't you just do engineering? Okay, why not? So I started taking the basic classes, et cetera, et cetera. Love the math part of things. Started going down that path, and I was like, maybe not. So I tried to switch my major to kinesiology.
What in the world is that?
It's on the sports side of things.
Okay.
So it's more like, I guess, like sports medicine and just understanding those type of things.
Okay.
And so total different shift from engineering to kinesiology.
Yeah.
So I did that for like maybe a month. I was like, nah, let me go back. So then I went back. I actually transferred down to Colorado CU Denver, down here in Denver.
Uh-huh.
And went there for about a semester. Then I studied abroad out in Peru.
Nice.
Yeah, so when I went to CU Denver, I actually changed my major back to mechanical engineering because they didn't have civil. So I was taking a lot of classes there. Really liked it, but I started getting to some like hard physics class, and I was like, "Ooh, oh no, this is kind of tough." So then I traveled abroad, stayed out there for about 4 months, and just kind of fell in love with just the architecture of everything. Like it was just so unique seeing how a lot of stuff was moving.
Yeah. What were you studying out in Peru? Because you were still going to college there.
Yep.
Right.
So it's more like general classes in a sense, kind of just getting all of the
Basic
basics.
credits.
Yeah, basic credits out the way. But then I ended up switching to architecture.
Nice. That's my passion.
Oh, yeah,
That has
okay.
been since I was in high school.
Nice.
Architecture, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the designs and stuff. I was like, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Quickly realized that wasn't for me. So then in Peru, unfortunately, failed a few more classes
Yikes.
because we were just traveling, really not going to class. Like it was a great opportunity though. It gave me an eye-opening experience, realizing just being in a different country,
Yeah.
just how good we have it in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And so did all of that, had the opportunity to play basketball on the team, which was really cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and then I came back here and I just went to my advisors like, hey, what's the quickest route out? Sat down, looked at all my credits that I currently have, and it was computer science.
Oh.
Yep.
So it wasn't because you wanted to be a super nerd.
No,
You just
no.
were kind of in and out of the path.
Yeah, I was always just a cool super nerd.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool kid, but super nerd at the same time.
And then computer science was the easiest way, or the shortest route, like you said, to get those final credits to get your degree.
Yep, to get my degree. So yeah, once he told me that, jumped into kind of the basic language of C++. I'm not sure if you know kind of the languages, but
No.
jumped into the computer science realm and I started to realize like, this is pretty cool. It's interesting. It's kind of, it's weird to think like how things work behind the scenes. So it's like, oh, once you can actually see that, okay, now I understand how these things work. So I started getting involved in that, of course. And long story short, I graduated with a computer science degree. However, I was still doing my real estate stuff. So like that was my main focus.
When did you start real estate in all of this?
Yeah, I guess I skipped over a lot of that. So in 2019, I jumped into real estate, going to school full-time, working full-time as well.
Okay.
And I came across a video, I don't know the gentleman's name, but it was on the Breakfast Club. Yeah, I don't know. He was talking about wholesaling. So like, what is wholesaling like? So I started learning a little bit more about it. I was like, nah, this can't be legit.
From YouTube University?
YouTube University. I love YouTube. Honestly, YouTube has taught me so much.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially
bigger pockets.
Yeah, like bigger pockets. I mean, Jerry Norton, Brent Daniels, all of those wholesaling guys, that's when I really started getting involved with it.
Yeah.
But once I started learning about the wholesaling, I was like, okay, let me jump in. And that's when I was more like, just jump off and figure it all out once you're going. So going to school full-time, working a full-time job, and trying to wholesale on the side.
Wow.
So then like just watching videos, I'm like, I don't want to start at the bottom. I don't want to cold call. Like, why would I do that? Like, I already know I could do this. Yeah, you instantly have that mindset like, I could do this. Yeah. So I hired cold callers. I just got all the fancy equipment that I really need off the rip. I hired 2 cold callers.
Wow.
Had leads coming in. So I was learning how to skip trace, how to pull leads, all of that fun stuff. And I tried to hire some friends, just like, hey, like, this is what I'm doing. So I sat down, put a presentation together on what's wholesaling, had a few friends, had some leads coming in, and nobody was making calls, including myself. And it wasn't necessarily I was scared, but it was like I didn't have a lot of time. So when I did have the time to make calls, your heart start pounding. You're like, I don't know. So I was just I'll spend a lot of money not making these calls, not doing the things I needed to do. And fast forward, think about a year into the journey of wholesaling, my great grandmother actually passed away. And so, yeah, no, thank you. Great grandmother passed away. And so then my family was like, hey, I know that you're in the real estate. I kind of pitched to them like, hey, this is what we can do. Just because I spent so much time just learning, like during that whole process, watching YouTube, reading books, doing everything I can. And pretty much sat down and mapped it all out to them. Like, hey, if we sell it cash, this is what we'll be able to do. If we sell it traditionally, this is what it's going to look like. And they're like, hey, let's give them a shot. And so I ended up getting that property sold. made $10,000 on it. And
You wholesaled it?
Yep, I wholesaled it to a new Western guy, actually.
Oh, man.
He brought the buyer in, and it was a happy day from there. So I was like, wow, okay.
Oh.
Proof of concept.
That's amazing too, that like your family, that you were able to take your ideas to your family and that they not only heard you out, you know, but like gave you the opportunity to put that together, which solves a problem for them with them not being super knowledgeable in that space, right? And allowed you to make a decent lump sum of cash, 10 grand on an assignment. You know, like that's super cool. A lot of people don't get that from their family, right?
I
Like,
agree.
we're the black sheep of the family usually. Like we're introducing all these new ideas and they're just like, no, I don't know about that. Or that sounds like a scam or whatever, you know?
Exactly. I mean, that's how they were at first. It was like, I don't know, like, you don't know shit. You're still a kid. Like, so it's like I was just trying to explain to him like how this process would go. And I think it was just my knowledge base on it, just being able to properly elaborate it and be able to sit down and break down these numbers like, hey, this is what it looks like.
Right.
And so I think they're like, okay. I mean, it sounds like he knows what he's doing. Once we got it to the finish line, they believed in me. So like, okay, really cool. I love that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, it was just like proof of concept. It was like, okay, this can be done. And I think it took maybe 2 months after that to get my next deal. And then that one.
How did you get that next deal?
So during that time, like once I got that proof of concept, I was making some calls here and there, touching base with people and kind of just doing some follow-ups. And a lady actually reached out to me after a year of follow-up. She was like, hey, I'm actually ready to sell now. Like, come over, let's chat.
Nice.
So I went to her house and and that's during that time too, I started learning a lot about creative financing. And I was like, I didn't know anything about it. But I was like, this is an option. So I wrote down everything like on a piece of paper and brought it to her house and just sat down and kind of just mapped out, hey, here's your options. You can list it, you can sell it cash, you can do a creative financing.
Yeah.
And she actually was steering towards a subject to.
Wow.
Which I was kind of scared. I was like, I don't think that's it. Like,
you're like, I don't really fully know this concept yet.
I was like, I just watched it on YouTube. Yeah, so it was just an idea at that time, but she was like leaning towards that. And I was like, damn, okay, like now what? And then a couple weeks later, she's like, no, I think we should just do cash. Let's just get it out my name and beat girls. Yeah, so but yes, thank God. So I actually reached out to the same guy that helped me sell my great grandmother's house, a new Western dude, and he ended up finding another buyer for me, and I think I made $15,000 on that one. And
sweet.
It was like, okay, let's make it happen. And the rest was history from there. It was just kind of maneuvering, learning how to talk with sellers and just have conversations.
As you mentioned, like I still till this day get uncomfortable talking to sellers. Like it lasts a lot shorter now than it used to. Like it used to be like the full conversation. Like my palms are sweating. Like I'm nervous. Like I don't want to say the wrong thing. Now, I still feel like, oh, this is, because you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right. That's what makes it so uncomfortable when you're making those cold calls or even warm calls to follow up with sellers. So I definitely get that. But just like you early in my journey, like I didn't really cold call. I was like, let me just go the texting route.
Yeah.
And then hired people later.
Okay.
Just because I didn't want to get on the phone.
So you mainly just did texting from the jump, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like how long in your journey would you say that you started to hop on the phone calls?
Like a year. Wow. It was easily like a year. Yeah. So like actually my initial intro into wholesaling and getting deals was purely Facebook. So that was like my branding, my thing at the time was like, I'm doing deals by spending $0 in marketing.
Yeah.
Because it was all just posting stuff on Facebook.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, that's how we met. Like social media, like it's powerful.
It is. It is. And being able to understand how to leverage it properly. I mean, honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out. But I do know social media is very powerful in being able to help others get out of their shell, but also learn different skill sets. I mean, I've learned so much just from YouTube itself. So it's like being able to now take my knowledge, everything that I've learned, and be able to put that on the internet to help others. That's definitely a passion of mine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that. I like that you took your experience in wholesaling and then at some point, tell us about that. Like, how did you get into wanting to teach others and share what you know with others and lead some groups? You were leading the subject to Pace Morby's regional group, right?
Yeah, I was one of the regional leaders for Pace Morby's group.
Yeah.
I don't know. It all kind of just started just taking the action and people were like, hey, what are you doing? Like, because I'm posting 10,000, 15,000 here. So they're like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
Right.
you scamming people? Like, what is going on? So it's just being able to like talk with people, but also like during that process, I'm just always, when I hear something, I want to go learn about it. So like I'd watch a lot of podcasts out here. Oh, how to build your credit. Boom. So I get indulged in that for a little bit and learn a lot about credit and just things like that. So it gives me opportunity when I'm speaking with someone, or if they're talking about credit's bad or I don't know how to sell this house, I'm like, oh, I can help you out. So I love just kind of have that conversation. And so I think it was just kind of more people gravitated more towards me because it seemed that I knew what I was talking about. And so just in that aspect of things, I jumped into Pace Morby's group. And I would say first 2 weeks in, I mean, I closed my first creative financing deal within 2 weeks. And
Nice.
people just instantly were like, oh, like this kid's killing it.
Being a subject to acquisition that you wholesaled off, or what was that deal?
Yeah. So during my journey of my wholesaling side, I was doing it all on my own. And so then I went out to a Grant Cardone seminar one time out in Miami. And I had a seller that was selling a property in Miami. So like during that time, I'm following up with him like, hey, I'd love to come see the property. He was like, hey, actually, like, I don't want to sell my condo anymore. I actually want to sell my commercial building. And so I was like, okay, how hard can that be? I mean, it's just real estate. Like, there's nothing different.
I love the bravery.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay. He was like, yeah, help me find a buyer. And I mean, I'll make sure that you get paid handsomely. I'm like, oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So during my Miami trip, I'm out there just looking for buyers in the area, Google searching, calling everybody. I come across the company, House Cash In, and they actually just like, I called the number and some guy answers like, hey, yeah, what can I do for you? Started telling him kind of about the deal that I have. He's like, okay, yeah, let me look into it and we'll talk. So he calls me the next day. He's like, hey, like, I'm actually gonna fly out. I think the deal's good. Let's make it happen.
Wow.
Yeah. So
how did you even know the numbers? So you just started running the numbers on this.
I didn't know anything.
Just like you.
I didn't know
Did
anything.
you call somebody else who knew more about?
I would just call brokers in the area and just for their listings and be like, hey, like, I have a property over here that I'm looking to help a seller. What do you think this numbers would look like? But it's mainly based off of like the cap rate. So
Yeah.
at that point, he was generating some good revenue just from events and the things that he was doing. So the price that he was looking for, I think it was selling at like a 12% cap rate, which was,
That's great.
yeah, which was really good at the time. But it was more like based off the events and stuff. And as you know, in 2020, obviously events kind of fell off. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I was like, it's just real estate. Like we can make it happen.
Again, I love the bravery.
Yeah.
Because even going from focusing on single family to looking at a commercial project is like, it's a whole different world.
It is a different world.
It's still real estate, but yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah. Once you start to, and during that time, like I said, like once I get infatuated with something, I get obsessed. So then like now I'm just learning everything I can, commercial terminology. What is this? What is that? So then once I did that, the buyer came out. Long story short, it didn't work out. They're like, hey, like, unfortunately, we don't want the deal. We have to buy that X amount. Seller wasn't willing to go down. But the buyer actually turned out to be one of my best friends nowadays.
Wow, that's super cool.
Younger kid, actually. He was like 2 years younger than me.
Wow.
Came out professional. I'm like, wow, okay, hold on.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I love to see this. And so we connected. We went out to dinner, hung out. And he was like, bro, like, I love just the way you speak. I love your mindset. I love everything that you got going on. I love to see how I can have you come work with us.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. Yeah, I mean.
So you just get this all the time. Like,
yeah,
me coming to you is nothing new.
Yeah, at first I thought you were trying to scam me, but
oh, wow.
We'll get into that. No, I mean, he was just like, hey, bro, let's sit down and chat. So he reached out to his boss, and Brendan was just like, hey, like, I would love to see how we can bring this guy on. I think his boss was kind of like skeptical at first, of course, kind of like how Sufjan was.
Yeah, like, who is this kid?
Yeah, he's just like, okay, just because you say he's good doesn't mean he's good.
Right.
But then I had the opportunity to kind of just present myself. I was on a call with them, kind of told them what I was doing, gave me an opportunity, like, hey, let's make it happen. So then I ended up coming on full time with them. And just mainly just doing, it was a lot of we were doing some residential, but it's mainly a lot of commercial. So I learned a lot of commercial just from what they were doing. They're a nationwide wholesaling company.
And you're like the acquisitions specialist, manager, kind of what type of?
Little bit of both. So I was doing acquisitions and dispositions. Because the way they brought me on, actually, he was like, hey, like, we have a deal out in Los Angeles, and if you can find a buyer, like we'll of course make sure that you get paid. And honestly, within like I think a couple hours after he gave it to me, I found a fire buyer.
Nice.
And it's literally just calling agents. Called an agent, hey, I have a beautiful deal over here, built a connection with her. She's like, I have a really good buyer for this deal. Long story short, they didn't go with my buyer, which till this day, they're like, I wish we went with your buyer. But there was going to be like, I think the assignment fee on there was like, I think it was 6 figures.
Wow.
It was a 6-figure assignment fee. But they ended up going with someone else just because they wanted to, I guess, build credibility or something with them. But they're like, damn, like you found a buyer pretty quick. So love to bring you on as a dispositions. And so during that time, they only had like 2 or 3 acquisitions guys, and not a lot of deals were getting locked up. So they're like, hey, let's kind of transition over to acquisitions too.
All guys? Do they have any ladies on the team?
Yeah, all guys. And then one female was like the assistant. Had to help organize things.
Yeah. They're missing out. They need some fire female acquisitions and disposition.
I think women are absolutely amazing in this business. I mean, my team now, all females.
Yeah.
My transaction coordinating team, my assistant. I had a lot of acquisition males, which didn't work out. So I definitely think females are top tier for this business.
Yeah. They need to get with the program.
They do. They do. What were we saying? Yeah, so I was doing a little bit of everything. And so during that time, they're mainly just focused on cash wholesaling. So if a deal came in, we want to figure out a cash price and wholesale it for a higher price.
Right.
And that's when I was really learning more about the creative financing side of things. So I was like, hey, like we can save a lot of these deals from instead of just offering 40, 50% on the dollar, let's transition to some creative financing. And they didn't really understand it, nor did they want to implement it into their model. And so kind of time went on, and I started to realize a lot of like just cracks within the systems and processes. I'm like, man, I'm doing everything from talking to the seller to writing up the contract to talking to lawyers to doing this, doing that, and then also trying to find a buyer. It got to the point where I'm like, this got to be easier.
Yeah.
Like, let's just put the right people in the right seats and just focus on one thing.
Right.
And so really, I think within like a month and a half working with him, and mind you, I'm a brand new kid on the block. So I've come with a crazy idea. I'm just like, how about me and the guy that I met out in Miami was like, how about we just tell the owners, like, give us the opportunity to build this thing, like hire people on, the things that we need. So we put together a whole pitch deck, sit down and like, hey, this is what we need. This is how we're going to make this thing work.
To delegate.
Yep. And pitched it to them. They're like, okay, let's give it a try. Which we implemented. We got it moving a little bit. And then not necessarily did they overstep, but it's more like micromanaging in a sense. So it's just like, I wasn't working how we really wanted to work.
Yeah.
And then just the creative financing side, they didn't want to implement that. So I got to the point where I was like, hey, honestly, I think like, I'm just going to step away and start my own thing. I think it'll be best for me. Also, they brought some new management in place that just wasn't really working out. So I kind of just stepped away, and my first creative financing deal was actually from them. So I seen a deal. I was telling them about like, hey, we can structure subject to. It was really a hybrid at the time. And they're like, no, just leave it alone. Stop pitching creative finance.
When you say hybrid, explain that. Because when you first mentioned that, I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think Pace Morby came up with that terminology. I don't know. But just learning from his community. So hybrid is a combination of subject to. So subject to keeping that mortgage in place and just making payments on that seller's behalf, subject to the existing mortgage.
Right.
And then their equity would be a seller financing. So now we turn that seller into the bank for the amount of equity that they have.
Yeah.
So that's what we call a hybrid, just a combination of the two.
Got it.
Yeah. So came across that deal, speaking with the seller. She at first was like, absolutely not. I don't want to go that route. I was like, okay, yeah, no worries. Like, because she's not going to sell it on the market just from the spread that she had. Like she had little to no equity. So like 2-3 weeks later, she called me again. She's like, okay, let's do it. And so I told the owners, I was like, hey, like this is going to be a good opportunity here. They're like, no, let's not do it. I was like,
wow,
how about I buy it? I'll buy it from you guys. Like I believed in the deal so much. I was like, why not? Like, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And mind you, it was a negative $350 as a long-term rental. So if we were to rent this out as a long-term rental, it would have been negative cash flow.
Right.
But just understanding different strategies, I thought, okay, maybe a wraparound mortgage. So taking that existing mortgage and just wrapping our own mortgage around it would make the most sense. So I was willing to take the risk. I was like, I'll buy it. Why not?
And you hadn't done any of these yet. You just understood.
I just understood it.
How.
Yeah.
And knew you could do it.
Yeah. So I was like, interesting. Like, I mean, you don't win unless you take risks. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So
absolutely.
In that case, I was like, I'll buy it. Let's figure it out. So I went to the subject to community and just kind of reached out. I was like, hey, I have this deal. Would love to partner with somebody. Or really, I was looking for a private money lender. So I was just like, hey, I just need a lender. Let me take this deal down. I'll make it happen. Not knowing anything. I'm just like, let me just make it happen. So I ended up finding a gentleman. He was like, hey, I will partner on you. I'll bring the money, but I want to partner with you 50-50.
Oh.
It's like, all right. I mean.
How much did you need?
Total was about $40,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I believe the asset was worth $450,000. And there was like roughly around 200, let's call it 250,000. Or no, it was more than that. It was like, I would say it was probably around, let's just call it 400,000 that they had owed on their mortgage.
Okay.
And so
about 50 grand in equity.
Potentially. Yeah. So in that case scenario, I structured in a way to where we take over the mortgage, subject to.
Yeah.
And then their equity, we only paid them about $20,000 at closing. And then we'll pay them remaining balance. We'll pay them 75% at 7 years. And then the remaining balance at 10 years.
Nice.
For their equity.
Love it.
And so in that case scenario, we brought like $40,000 to the table with closing costs and then also paying my old company an assignment fee of $10,000.
Nice.
Which beautiful thing was, since I was acquisitions on that one, I also got paid on there too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it kind of worked out. At first, they weren't going to pay me, but I was like, I don't know. It makes sense for me to structure it.
Right. You got the deal.
Yo.
To hold, right? To
yep.
become a property that you can make money off of long term. And you got an assignment fee.
Yeah.
By wholesaling it to your own company, basically.
Yeah, I really see
partners.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. I was like, interesting. Okay, so got that all, secured that with the partner. He brought the $40,000 to the table. We closed. I'll say it took us about a month, but we were marketing to try to find someone that couldn't qualify traditionally.
Right.
So we created our own mortgage around it. I believe the underlying mortgage on that was like a 3% interest rate. I think it was like $1,500 a month. And so what we did, we found somebody and we sold it to him for, I think we sold it to for, I don't know exact numbers, but we sold it to him like almost $100,000 more than what the original purchase price was for ours.
Right.
They brought $40,000.
Let's say.
Yeah, call it $550. They brought $40,000 to the table. So in that case, I mean, we were no money out of pocket.
Right.
Investor got his money back. They were able to bring the capital in order to cover that. And then we sold it to them for a 6% interest rate at, I mean, we cash flow about 900, so just call it $2,500.
That is stellar.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful deal.
Beautiful deal. Yeah. So net cash flow every month was $900. We're splitting that right down the middle. I had none of my own money in the deal.
And your buyer, right? The wrap buyer.
Yep.
They now, because they're buying the house, not like renting it, not leasing it.
Yeah.
They're responsible for the maintenance and repairs and everything on the property too.
Exactly.
So you don't have all of the stresses of being your typical landlord.
Yeah.
They have to take care of the property.
Yeah. I'm just a lender.
Yeah.
I'm just looked at as Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever it may be. Just like, hey, you don't pay?
We'll foreclose.
And that's exactly what we're doing right now.
Oh, no, man.
Yeah. So a year and a half in, everything was going good. I mean, we're cash flowing every month, and buyer ended up just stopped making payments for a couple months. So of course we're reaching out like, hey, what can we do to help? She's going through financial hardship. So like, we really don't want to foreclose on you. Like, just deed the property back to us and we'll kind of like let you just move on. Well, she ended up kind of going ghost on us. So we started the foreclosure process. Come to find out, she actually filed bankruptcy.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're in that process now of trying to figure all that out. But good thing I brought my capital partner in, which now he's handling all the mortgage payments and everything that needs to be done on there. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are still protecting the initial seller.
Yep.
Who you have your subject to agreement with.
Of course.
And that is super important for any investor, any buyer who's doing a subject to, is to have that level of integrity to be like, hey, even if we're not making money from whoever we sold it to or are renting it to, we're going to make sure that this mortgage is taken care of, because it's your responsibility at the end of the day to make sure.
It is. And it's definitely a very sticky situation, because in that case, if your buyer's not making payments and you don't make payments, it's just screwing that seller.
Yeah.
So, of course, being ethical and making sure, hey, we're going to make sure we take care of this.
Yeah.
A lot of lessons learned. I mean, definitely one thing I would say is, like, in those case scenarios, I would probably preload each month X amount of dollars just in case if that ever happens, just for like a security account if anything does fall back.
And what do you mean by that? Like that you would have the buyer pay a few, and like they already paid 40 grand to get in. So like you would take some of that 40 grand and put it
in a sense. I mean, it could always do that. I mean, it really kind of depends, but just being able to structure to where maybe there's like 2 months of mortgage payments stored away somewhere. So whether that maybe come from our cash flow, maybe we have the buyer bring a little bit more capital to the table in order to account for that, things along that nature. So you definitely get a little bit more creative on there, but just being able to understand like, hey, things do happen.
Yeah.
So when this does happen, I mean, in my case, scenario, like if I didn't have my capital partner, I'd be like, damn, like this probably gonna have to go back to the sellers.
Right. Because you don't have all that cash to just keep forking out for the mortgage.
Like,
and
exactly. And I have my own mortgage. I have bills. It's like, it's a lot of stuff that goes on top of it. So once you get into these deals, like you want to make sure that you're financially secure.
Yeah.
In order to, if anything does fall back, and definitely bringing in somebody that has that capital. Of course, bringing someone that believes in you too.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is like, hey, you might not even have to be my partner, but if you understand, hey, this deal is a really good deal and you'll be able to, I guess, properly present that to somebody, I mean, anybody would be open to lending on something like that.
If you know your numbers, if you know how to present them, you know, like you said, that's super important. Something that I had learned actually from YouTube University and watching Brandon Turner back in the day.
Yeah.
Before I bought my first rental property, which was a duplex in Pueblo, he like was breaking down, I think it was, he called it like the 4 square method, I want to say.
Okay.
This was 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago at least. But part of what he did at the end of his calculations to say like, this is your cash flow, is cut it in half. And so I've always done that with my properties, is like, first of all, I have a separate bank account, you know, LLC for that property.
Yeah.
And my cash flow on that property, my cash flow, it changed, but let's say it was like $700, $800 a month.
Yeah.
After expenses. I would cut that in half, and half of that went into a savings account.
Interesting.
Under that, you know, LLC, that bank account.
Love that.
Half of it went into savings, and the other half was like my spendable money.
Yeah.
Which the whole time I owned that property, I'd never spent any money from it, just because I'm like, it's $400 a month, like $300-$400 a month. Like it's cool, but I don't really need it.
Yeah.
And so
being able to properly allocate your funds is definitely something that will help a lot in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, like, I mean, just with calculating my numbers, I always factor in like 20% for what they call CapEx or anything that goes wrong, vacancies, repairs, things like that. So definitely from that net cash flow, I like to pull 20% from there and be like, okay, this is what you'll actually net after all said and done.
Yeah. And now we know about cost segregation.
Yeah.
Which is even more of an asset for us as owners and landlords, like how we can do a cost segregation study on our property in 1 year, see a huge, what should be return from the IRS, you know, in this massive deduction.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting. Something that you know now, like that you could implement into, well, you could still probably do that on that property if you guys haven't filed.
Well, technically, we're not the owners.
You hold title, or you hold the deed.
No, she holds the deed. So the borrower holds the deed. We just hold the mortgage.
Oh, yeah. Because yeah. So
I'm sure there's something that we can implement. Maybe, I mean, of course, maybe the loss of payments and stuff that we have, we can deduct that. But yeah, that's the only downfall about wrapping mortgages is that now you can't utilize the tax depreciation purposes.
It goes to the buyer.
Yeah. So now you're not an owner of an asset in a sense. I mean, you own a piece of paper. Which at the end of the day, like if we really wanted to, we can take that note that we created and sell it off to a note buyer, get a nice
borrow against it.
Yep, or borrow against it. Do a lot of things with this. So the cool thing is like you just got to get creative. But I definitely believe real estate is, I mean, obviously the biggest wealth builder just from history.
Yeah.
So it's being able to understand, okay, like, how can I properly own assets and then, of course, pay little to no taxes? And
Yeah.
that's what the ultra wealthy do, is just understand how to maneuver their assets and play Monopoly at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We want to play real life Monopoly.
Yeah, that's the goal. And that's the end goal with the community that we're building too, is just being able to properly educate everybody on these different strategies.
Yeah.
And cost segregation and how to do a wraparound. What exactly does that come with? Tax depreciation purposes. Like, I don't know it all.
Right.
Nor do I want to know it all. I would love to understand it, but I also know that bringing in professionals to come in and actually talk about it is going to be very beneficial to what we're building out.
Yeah, no doubt. I love that you are so open-minded, for one, that you're always open to learn, and that I've been doing this for several years. You know, I've done lots of deals, but there are not a lot of people that are in this game that are decent, at least, right? At like so many different things, so many different ways to get a deal done.
Yeah.
But that was my first thing with you, is like, wow, like you, similar to me, are very open to utilizing as many tools as you possibly can
100%.
to find a solution to a deal, no matter what type of deal it is, no matter if it's single family, multifamily, commercial, no matter what state it's in, no matter what buyers or partners you might need to bring in to do it with you.
Yeah.
You're very open-minded and not just like focused on one thing. Which sometimes, I'm like, Jordan, focus on this one thing.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my biggest issues. But I also see, like, I see every problem has a solution to it. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, I mean, I lose my phone. Okay, what's the best way to figure that out?
Mm-hmm.
Find my iPhone. No, okay, it's gone. Let me go ahead and just buy a new phone or something along that nature. It's just always finding different solutions. Like, anything that goes wrong in life obviously happened for a reason. So it's like just being able to really step back and realize, okay, what did I do in order for this sequence to occur? And what can I do in order to change it?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the best mindset that I like to go into it, but always learning. I mean, that's the biggest thing in life. It just, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And there's been so many things, especially in the real estate side, like cost segregation. I've been going since 2019 without even knowing what the hell that is.
Right. Yeah.
I've heard the term, but I'm like, nah, I don't need to know that right now. Like, too high level. But once you start to learn things like that, you're like, oh, damn, like, it's missing out a lot of things. And there's a lot of investors out there that don't know, but they own tons of real estate.
Yeah. That's what's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's been my experience. So like, what? Like,
Yeah.
why have I not done this on every single property ever? This is crazy.
I agree. Curious. So what is your, I guess, vision of this Dealmakers that we're building out?
I have a lot of visions. I try to like not go too
broad,
because I'm like, take over the world with it, right? Like I get very excited about what we're building. But my vision, I'd say, like, right now, the main focus is really just creating the local community of trusted investors and wholesalers.
Yeah.
That is like a true community, right? Like not just something that you're going on Facebook and making a post and hoping people respond.
Yeah.
Not just going to networking events and handing out business cards. Like creating a true community where we're like a tribe, like family, like we get to know each other.
Love that.
And even though it's projected to be a large amount of people, you know, that are part of this community as verified members.
Yeah.
I believe that there's still plenty of opportunity for us to have just a really big tribe, like a really big family.
I agree.
That we all get to know and trust and work with and build wealth with, right? And create like the actual lifestyle that we want, because that's different for everyone.
Yeah.
A lot of people who come into this community, the point for them is the time freedom, the geographical freedom.
Yeah.
For some people, it's the financial freedom, so they can go buy all the nice cars and purses and things that they want.
Yeah.
And so not that there's anything wrong with either side of that, but I envision Real Estate Dealmakers being like a home for everyone, regardless of what their goals and their vision is in real estate. But we get to be the people who actually like, we're like the puppet masters, if you will. Like we're putting together the show. We're putting together all of the pieces for them, so that they can have that home, that space to come to that's beneficial for them. So
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, definitely a community to where people can come and bring their personal problems too. It's like, I want to be
Oh, I don't know about that. No,
it's more like that friendship. It's more like, hey, like, we're a family.
Yeah.
You come in here and we're gonna hang out. Of course, we're going through stuff. Like, let's talk. Let's figure out how we can help out.
If you want someone to be nice to you, talk to Jordan. If you want somebody to give you tough love, come talk to me, because I'm gonna tell you to shut the hell up.
Yeah, not. I'm definitely here to help out, but yeah, don't bring too much problems to me. I don't like too many problems. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I love the aspect of it. I mean, I've said this before, but like Pace Morby, when he's built out his community, I love the way that everyone interacts and helps each other.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I envision what we got going on here in Colorado, is just really bringing ethical people, because there's a lot of unethical people in this industry.
Yeah.
I mean, scamming, lying, daisy chaining deals, and just not really moving how they should move. So being able to build out the community and really verify these members, I mean, especially wholesalers, investors, but it's going to be huge for affiliates.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of business is going to be able to come into just what they got going on and be able to grow their businesses individually too.
Yeah, it already is. You know, like our affiliates already are just super excited about the meetups and the events and classes. They get to come in and host their own workshops. And so, yeah, building this out is amazing. And us doing this locally, you know, here in Colorado, and then we, at some point, you know, are going to take this to other states and other, I don't know, countries maybe?
All over the world. I'm taking the whole world on her. Yeah, no, definitely in our backyard though. That's going to be the biggest focus, is just become one of the biggest, I guess, real estate communities, and being able to like grow that and have people want to come to us like, oh, these people know what they're doing, or that at least they know somebody that knows what they're doing, so where now they can come to us and ask for advice. So.
Yeah. Plus, it's also great that we're both Colorado natives.
Yep.
We both got that mulatto magic, you know, mix. Like, I feel like that's such a typical thing for Colorado. Like, mixed kids are everywhere here compared to a lot of other states.
I agree.
None of that matters, but we get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
As my mom has always said, being black and white. Like, so I feel like, go into the world with a different lens than a lot of people naturally, because we are mixed, because we see the best of both worlds.
I agree.
We are able to really connect with people from every like walk of life and race and age and gender, and you know, like, just I feel like we're very blessed in that we get to see the world in a different way than most people do.
100%. I mean, definitely a great opportunity to like connect with everybody,
Mm-hmm.
especially if your energy's on that same type of time as someone else. Is like, people just automatically gravitate to us.
Yeah.
And just being able to have those conversations. I think it just comes down to being a good human being at the end of the day. Like, always wanting to better yourself and become 1% better is mainly the people that I look for. And I don't just really look for them, like, I attract them.
Yeah.
And they just come into my life. Like, for when you reached out to me, yeah, exactly. It's just like, it just happened. It's just like, hey, we didn't anticipate it. It's just like, hey, it just happened and it fell into place. And now we're here building one of the best communities in Colorado.
Yeah. Well, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
We're building one of the best communities in Colorado.
I agree.
Yes. All right. Anything else you want to share with us today? I also feel like you would be a good person to like do some of the interviews of me on some later podcasts we can do together.
Most definitely.
And we'll just have more of these where we're, you know, just talking me and you and sharing deals and strategy ideas. And
I definitely think also it'd be beneficial to kind of show people the ups and downs of what we're doing. Like, as we're building these things out, I know we're going to run into issues.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like partnerships and things along that nature. It's just being able to, I guess, just talk about it.
Yeah.
And share with the people. Because I mean, there's not a lot of stuff out there where people are like talking about the struggles.
Yeah.
So I think it would be beneficial. Yeah. Just keep it real and be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to us doing more of those.
I agree.
Well, thank you for joining Real Estate Dealmakers. Thank you for being open-minded to what you thought was a scam I was bringing to you initially, which was unintentional, right? Like, we're just talking, having dinner, and like just learning about each other's story in real estate. And I'm like, oh man, like, this guy seems like he has the vision, right? And you've already done a lot of the building of the foundation in community building and just getting out there and networking and like having those relationships that you've been cultivating for years.
Yeah.
the experience, and so I was just like, I was not looking for a partner. I was not looking to bring anybody in. I was just like, this seems like this would be a good collaboration.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're here.
Now, when you mentioned, I was like, interesting. The universe works in mysterious ways.
It does, yeah.
But yeah, just helping people is my main priority. And I think just what we're building here is going to be extremely beneficial to a lot of people. So I'm happy. I'm excited.
Good. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me on as
COO and Innovations Director. Ooh, I got it.
The title. It's official. Well, I appreciate you.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Real Estate Dealmakers with Gabrielle Simmons and Jordan Correy. So you guys will be seeing more episodes with both of us or either one of us as we continue on. So stay tuned.